إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهديه فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Welcome to our Ramadan series organized by National Jimsa Dawah Committee. And in this episode, our discussion and worry will be centered on what is very common these days, even in the month of Ramadan, even by those who are fasting. My dear sister, my dear brother, have you asked yourself, will my fasting be fulfilled as long as I fast not observing hijab? Or will my fasting be fulfilled as long as I'm fasting but not guarding my eyes and restraining my private parts? This question calls for the topic of our discussion, and it will take 3 episodes. The discussion is hijab as a constant for the fulfillment of fasting. Yes, hijab is a constant for the fulfillment of the fasting that you are undergoing. What is fasting? Fasting linguistically means abstinence from something, but technically, according to Sharia, it refers to abstinence from food, drink, sexual intercourse, immorality, obscene acts, and any disobedient act from dawn till dusk for the sake of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the technical definition of fasting. And fasting has 2 pillars. That is the very pillars on which fasting is laid. When your fasting is not laid on that, then it will break down and crumble. It will crumble into pieces. It will not be worthy of acceptance. Condition number 1 is abstinence from all that breaks your fast, from all that nullifies your fasting. Intentional eating, intentional drinking, having sexual intercourse with one's wife, and then engaging in immorality, obscene acts, sinful acts. These are the nullifiers of fasting. And what is hijab? Which serves as a constant in the fulfillment of your fasting. Hijab linguistically means covering, but technically it refers to that command that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us in Surah 24, that's Surah An-Nur, verse 30 and 31. Verse 30, the command of hijab to men. Verse 31, the command of hijab to women. And according to these 2 verses, hijab is understood for men 2 in 1, for women 3 in 1. For men, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كل المؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم إن الله خبير بما تصنعون. Tell the believing men that they should restrain their eyes. That's the first hijab for men. And guard their private parts. That's the second hijab for men. And that will enable them have clean, pure hearts. That does not contain spiritual contaminations. That is, mashallah, their house will be clean, pure, and the Quran can settle, and Iman can settle and be strong. That's a hijab for men. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything that they do. And the hijab, the command of hijab for women, in verse 31, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكُلِّ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ, and then tell the believing women, يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنَّ وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا ظَهْرَ مِنْهَا. And tell the believing women, hijab number 1, they should restrain their eyes from looking at that which is haram. Number 2, guarding their private parts from zina. Number 3, and then covering themselves with the Islamic prescribed outfit. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ zinatahun, not exposing their beauty, not exposing their ornament, not exposing the shape that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shaped them with, not exposing that. That is 3 in 1 for our dear mothers and sisters. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats that one and he said, وَلِيَدْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُوبِهِنَّ, that they should draw their cloaks, covering their bosoms, covering all over their body. And then he repeated saying, وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا لِبُعُلَتِهِنَّ, and they should not expose their beauty except to their husbands. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned other men, the non-mahram men, to the end of the ayah. So when we look at hijab, that is, if we limit the hijab here to the third one of the 3 in 1, that is covering, we realize that when a woman or a man is fasting and does not observe the hijab, on the part of a man, you are fasting and you throw your eyes all over here and there, no restraining the eyes from looking at which is haram, your fasting cannot be fulfilled. Your fasting will be categorized according to Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi in his book Mukhtasar Minhaj al-Qasidin. Well, fasting will just be an ordinary fasting. That is, you only avoided food and drink and sexual intercourse. That is the fasting of ordinary people, and it is not fulfilled. The Prophet ﷺ said, من لم يدع قول الزور وعمل به فليس الله بحاجة أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. He who does not leave sinful speech and acting upon them, Allah is not in need of his fasting. You see? So if you are fasting as a man and you don't restrain your eyes, you don't observe the hijab of men, then it will be very difficult for you to have your fasting fulfilled. And on the part of our mothers and our sisters and wives, if you are fasting and you don't cover your beauty, you don't observe proper sound hijab, you will not be having your fasting fulfilled because you are committing an act of disobedience. Yes, scholars say that a woman not observing hijab but fasting, legally the fasting is valid, but the sin committed, especially exposure of your nakedness, it detracts the blessings of the fasting and consequently denies you of the barakah of the fasting. In so doing, the fasting is nullified. The fasting is cost 90 work. And that is what the Prophet ﷺ indicated, saying, رُبَّ الصَّائِمِ لَيْسَ لَهُ مِنْ صِيَامِهِ إِلَّا الْجُوعُ. Some of those who fast, or it may happen that a fasting person has nothing as reward except suffering hunger and thirst. Subhanallah. So, and fasting has pillars, as mentioned. Avoiding what breaks it, such as the sinful acts and intentionally eating and drinking. So, sinful acts such as exposure of your nakedness. When you expose your nakedness, my dear sister, know that you have disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as violating the sanctity of the fasting, especially the sanctity of the month, as well as committing other people to commit sins. So, exposure of your beauty and ornaments, especially in the month of fasting, is fasad. Wallah yuhibbul mufsidin. Wallah yuhibbul fasad. Allah does not love those who spread sins on earth. Allah does not love the act of what? Spreading and committing corruption on the surface of earth. This brings us to the end of the first episode of our topic, hijab as a constant for the fulfillment of fasting. We will continue inshallah in our next episode. So please watch out for the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.